If you make six figures, skip this video. But if you make 30, 40, maybe 50,000 a year, and your rent eats 40% of your income, and someone told you to just save 20%, the math was never in your favor. You're not failing. The system was never built for your numbers. Today, we fix the math.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something, a little different.
Yeah, we are.
Usually when we talk about finance or, when you see it talked about in the media, it's all optimization for people who already have money.
Right. It's always about tax shelters or maxing out your 401k.
Exactly. Or, which luxury electric vehicle qualifies for a tax credit. But today, we are clearing the deck. We are taking a stack of research, articles, and a very specific guide called Money Unfiltered, Real Finance for Low-Income Earners. And we're going to unpack a survival guide for a completely different demographic.
It is about time we did this. I've been looking forward to this one.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I want to set the stage right away because I think we have to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, let me guess. The latte myth.
The latte myth.
The zombie of the financial world. It just will not die.
It really won't. You know the drill, right? You pick up a bestseller on money management, or you watch some guru on TikTok, and the first piece of advice is always, if you just stop buying that $5 latte every morning, you'd be a millionaire in 40 years.
And it makes you want to scream.
It makes you want to throw the book across the room. Because if you are the target audience for today's deep dive, and we mean someone earning, say, minimum wage or maybe up to $30,000, $35,000 a year.
You aren't buying a $5 latte. You're not even in the coffee shop.
No, you're probably drinking instant coffee at home because you're actually terrified of what your electric bill is going to be to boil the water.
It's just a complete disconnect from reality, a total failure to understand the audience.
Exactly. So if you are listening to this and you have ever felt gaslighted by standard financial advice, this episode is for you. We are not going to tell you to cut expenses you don't even have.
No.
We aren't going to tell you to invest money that doesn't exist. We are going to explore what the source material calls tight math.
And we need to be very, very clear about who this is for. This is not for the person making six figures who feels broke because they have a high mortgage and 2 car payments.
Right.
This is for the person where the math, it genuinely does not add up at the end of the month. The source material is designed specifically for people navigating the poverty line or just above it.
And the mission here, it isn't to make you rich by next Tuesday.
Not at all. It's to help you survive.
Yeah.
It's to stop the bleeding, stop that paycheck to paycheck cycle, and maybe, just maybe, build a little bit of a cushion.
A cushion so that a flat tire doesn't completely ruin your entire year.
Exactly. A flat tire, a sick kid, a busted water heater. Those are the things we're trying to build a defense against.
And when we say survive, we aren't being dramatic. Let's look at the structural reality the expert source lays out, because I think so many people in this bracket feel like they are personally failing. They carry this huge weight of shame.
Oh, absolutely.
But the numbers, they suggest the game is rigged against them from the start.
It is absolutely a structural issue. It's not a personal failing. Let's just look at the baseline math, okay? Let's say you're earning $25,000 a year.
Okay.
In the abstract, that might sound like a decent number to some people, but break it down. After federal taxes, state taxes, FICA, you're taking home maybe $1,800 and $1,900 a month.
If you're lucky. And that's before health insurance premiums come out.
Right. So let's just be generous and say it's $1,900. Now let's talk about rent. A modest one-bedroom apartment. In many, many cities, finding a place for $900 is a miracle.
It's a miracle. It probably doesn't exist in a safe neighborhood.
But let's just use that as our number, $900 a month. Now, standard financial advice, all those rules of thumb, they say you should spend no more than 30% of your gross income on housing.
Okay, so let's do the math on that. $900 divided by, well, let's use the gross, which is about $2,100 a month.
It's 43%, not 30. 43% of your gross income.
Immediately. Gone.
Gone. Before you buy a single loaf of bread, before you pay for heat, before you put a drop of gas in the car to get to work, you have already spent nearly half of your money just to have a roof.
So you're mathematically behind the rules before the month even starts.
You're starting the race 50 yards behind the starting line. And that's why that standard advice of, oh, just save 20% of your income feels like such a slap in the face.
If you save 20%, you don't eat. It's that simple.
Precisely. So The roadmap for our deep dive today is about navigating that reality, not the fantasy land reality we wish existed. We're going to cover three main areas from the sources.
Okay.
First, we'll dig into the money truths, which is really about reframing your mindset away from that shame and into strategy. Second, a very specific tiered budgeting system that just completely ditches the old useless models.
And third,
And third, and this is where we're going to spend a lot of time, the magic tricks. We have actual word-for-word scripts for negotiating your bills. We have guides for accessing benefits that you're entitled to but might not even know about, and a breakdown of how to invest even if you only have $10.
I'm really excited about the scripts. I think we should definitely role play some of those later because that fear of getting on the phone is, it's a huge barrier for people.
It's a real thing, for sure.
But let's start with that foundation. Section 1, the 3 money truths. And the first one, it hits me right in the gut. You are not bad with money.
This is the most important psychological hurdle to clear. If you don't believe this one, nothing else we talk about will work.
Why is it so fundamental?
Because of the massive psychological burden that comes with poverty, there's a concept called cognitive load. When your brain is constantly, 24/7, worried about where the next meal is coming from or how you're going to pay rent,
You can't think about anything else.
your brain has no bandwidth left for anything else. Studies have shown your effective IQ actually drops temporarily because your brain is so consumed by the math of survival. So it's very easy to feel incompetent, to feel like you're just not smart enough.
I feel like you're messing up because you're always scrambling, always putting out fires.
But look at the facts. Just look at the reality. If you are keeping a roof over your head and food on the table for yourself or your family on $25,000, $30,000 a year in this economy, you are actually an excellent money manager.
That's such a powerful reframe.
You are playing the game of life on the hard difficulty setting. A millionaire can make a $10,000 mistake on a stock and not even feel it. If you make a $10 mistake at the grocery store, you don't eat lunch on Friday.
Right.
The level of skill and just sheer grit required to juggle bills at this level is actually much higher than the skill required to just manage a surplus. You're a financial acrobat.
A financial acrobat. I like that. So it's not that you're bad at math. It's that the math itself is brutal and the difficulty setting is maxed out.
Exactly. So give yourself some grace. That's truth number 1.
Okay, truth number 2. Small changes compound. Now, I have to be the skeptic here for a second. Usually when people say every penny counts, it feels really condescending.
It can be.
Like, oh, just save your loose change in a jar and one day you'll be rich.
Yeah.
It feels dismissive.
And it is dismissive if the context is wrong. But here we're talking about what the source calls relative value. This is a core concept.
Okay, what is relative value?
It's about the impact of a dollar relative to your total income. If a high earner saves $20, it's a rounding error. It means literally nothing to their daily life or their financial security.
They wouldn't even notice it's gone.
But for our listener today, $20 might be 1 or 2% of their entire monthly take-home pay. It's a significant amount of money.
Okay, so the impact of that same $20 is just magnified.
Drastically magnified. Think about it this way. If you manage to find a way to save $20 a month, maybe by negotiating your phone bill down, that is $240 a year.
Right.
For a rich person, $240 is a nice dinner out. For a low-income earner, $240 is a new set of tires. Maybe used tires, but they're tires that get you to work.
It's the difference between driving to work and losing your job because your car broke down and you can't afford to fix it.
That's exactly it. It's the difference between an emergency fund and a full-blown crisis. It's the cost of a prescription. It's a kid's winter coat.
That puts it in perspective. We're not trying to save up to buy a yacht here. We are trying to buy a safety net. We are buying stability.
You are buying a night of sleep, a night where you aren't staring at the ceiling, consumed with anxiety about what happens if something goes wrong.
That's worth more than $20.
Infinitely more.
Okay. That brings us to truth number 3. Time is your asset. This one is tricky for me because I feel like when you're working 2 jobs or you have a chaotic shift schedule, you don't feel like you have time. You feel exhausted.
And that exhaustion is real. It's a physical and mental reality. The argument here isn't that you have tons of free time. It's about leverage.
Leverage?
Yeah. You may not have disposable income. You can't throw money at problems. But you often have small pockets of disposable time. Or maybe, more accurately, you have to choose how to use the little energy you have left after work.
So it's about being efficient with that time and energy.
It's about return on time. The source makes a really strong point about side hustles here, which I think is crucial. When you're desperate for cash, you might be tempted to take any gig that pays anything at all.
Sure, any money feels better than no money.
But you have to do the math. If you take a side hustle that earns you an extra $200 a month, that sounds great on the surface. But if it takes you 20 hours a week to make that $200,
You're making, wait, 200 divided by 80 hours a month? That's $2.50 an hour.
before taxes,
Well,
and before gas if you're driving, you are literally burning yourself out for less than minimum wage. Your time is more valuable than that.
so what's the alternative?
You're better off using that time to sleep so you can perform better at your main job. Or using 1 hour of that time to negotiate your internet bill, which could save you $30 a month for just 1 hour of work.
A $30 an hour return on your time.
Exactly. We have to be strategic with our energy because it is our most finite and precious resource when we're in this situation.
Strategic energy use. I like
Mhm.
that. Okay, so we have the mindset. We've got the 3 truths. Now we need to face the music.
Yep.
Section 2 is the audit, knowing your numbers. And the source is very, very strict about this. You cannot optimize what you do not measure.
This is the step where a lot of people want to turn off the deep dive.
It's scary. I get it. You don't want to look at your bank account because you know it's ugly. You know the number is low.
But you have to look. You have to turn on the lights to see where you are. And the first step is calculating your real income.
Okay.
And there's a really crucial nuance here that the source highlights. When you calculate your monthly income, do not include benefits like SNAP, food stamps, or housing assistance yet.
Why not? Isn't that technically a resource coming in? It helps you survive.
It is, absolutely. But for this initial audit phase, we need to know exactly what cash is hitting your bank account from your labor. We need a clean number. So take your annual salary and divide by 12, or if your income is variable, average your last 3 paychecks.
The actual take-home pay.
The cold, hard cash baseline. We'll handle the benefits as a separate layer on top of that later on. It's a different category.
Okay, so we have the income number. Now, the hard part, tracking expenses. The source gives 3 methods because not everyone's brain works the same way.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all here.
Method A is the classic spreadsheet. Method B is using an app like Mint, YNAB, Good Budget. Those are pretty standard.
People have heard of those.
But method C, I find this one fascinating, the receipt method.
I love Method C, especially for this specific demographic. It's analog. It's tactile. It forces you to confront the reality in a way a screen doesn't.
Walk us through it. How does it work?
The instruction is incredibly simple. For the next 30 days, you don't even need to look at a spreadsheet or an app. Instead, you just ask for a physical receipt for every single transaction.
Every single one.
Every one. Buying a pack of gum at the gas station. Get a receipt. Paying your rent with money order. Keep the stub. Getting gas. Get the receipt.
And what do you do with this pile of paper?
You stuff them in a shoebox.
Yeah.
Or a big glass jar. Somewhere you can see it. You don't analyze them yet. You don't judge yourself. You just collect the paper trail.
For 30 days.
For 30 days. Then, at the end of the month, you clear off your kitchen table, you dump the whole box out, and you start sorting them into piles.
Food, utilities, car, junk.
Exactly. And the source argues that there's something incredibly powerful and psychological about the physical volume of the paper. It's one thing to see a number in an app that says you spent $70 on coffee.
Right.
It's another thing entirely to see that the physical pile of receipts from the convenience store for snacks and energy drinks is taller than the single receipt for your electric bill.
It makes the invisible visible. It's so much harder to ignore a pile of paper staring you in the face.
It creates friction. You feel every single one of those little purchases in a way you don't with a debit card swipe. And that friction is what helps us change our habits.
Okay, so that's the spending. But then there's the other side of the audit, the part that usually induces a full-on panic attack.
A debt list.
The debt list.
It's tough, but we have to do it. The instruction is to get a single piece of paper and write down every single debt you have. Credit cards, medical bills, personal loans, car notes, payday loans, everything.
What information do you write down?
3 columns for each one. The total balance you owe, the interest rate, the APR, and the minimum monthly payment.
And the source emphasizes this repeatedly.
Yeah.
This is not an exercise in shame.
No, it's an exercise in strategy. You cannot fight an enemy you cannot see. If you don't know that one credit card has a 29% interest rate while your car loan is at 6%, you're fighting blind. You might be throwing extra money at the wrong debt.
You need the intel, the battle plan.
Yeah. This is your map of the battlefield. It's ugly, but it's necessary.
Okay, so let's assume we've done the scary part. We've turned on the lights.
Yeah.
We have our pile of receipts sorted. We have our list of debts. Now what?
Yeah.
Now we move to section 3, the optimization math.
Right, and this is where the source really diverges from standard accounting advice. It tells you to forget the whole needs versus wants framework.
Why? It's like budgeting 101.
It's useless for this audience because when you are low income, almost everything feels like a need. Is your phone a want? No, you need it to get calls from your boss. Is internet a want? No, your kid needs it for homework. That binary is too simplistic.
So what's the alternative?
The tier system. It's a hierarchy of survival. You categorize your expenses into 4 tiers.
Okay, let's break them down. What's in tier 1?
Tier 1 is non-negotiable. This is the stay alive tier. This includes your rent or mortgage, basic utilities like lights and heat, essential groceries, not take out transport to get to work, and critical medications.
Okay, so if you don't pay for these things, your life falls apart almost immediately.
Correct. You get evicted, your lights get shut off, you starve, or your health collapses. This is the absolute bedrock of your budget. Everything else is built on top of this.
Makes sense. What about tier 2?
Tier 2 is important. These are things that are critical for modern life and work, but maybe have a little bit of flexibility. Think phone and internet.
Right, like you said, you can't really apply for a job without them anymore.
Exactly. Also in this tier is insurance, car insurance, renter's insurance. They're essential protections.
Okay, so they're crucial, but maybe slightly more flexible than food or shelter. You can't cut them, but you might be able to change them.
Precisely. There is room to maneuver on how much you pay for your phone plan, but you can't really just cut the service entirely.
Got it. Tier 3.
Tier 3 is quality of life. This is where you find your subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, things like that. It's dining out, even if it's just cheap fast food. It's entertainment, like going to a movie.
The stuff that makes life feel a little less like just surviving.
Exactly. And then finally, Tier 4.
What's tier 4?
Tier 4 is capacity. This is anything left over. This is where your extra debt payments, anything above the minimums, and all of your savings and investments would go.
So the whole goal of this exercise is to see if we have any money at all left for tier 4.
That's the brutal math. The core calculation the source gives is your real income minus the total cost of Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3.
And if that number is negative,
Which for many listeners it might be, that means you're going into debt every month just to live, and we have to stop the bleeding. That's when optimization becomes mandatory.
and the source gives a very strict order of operations for how to fix it, which I think is important. Because my instinct, and I think a lot of people's instinct, is to just panic and try to slash everything at once.
Right, or worse, to try to cut the biggest thing first, like your rent.
Which is really, really hard to do.
You can't just move tomorrow. That costs money you don't have. So the order is designed to minimize pain and maximize speed. Step 1 is to reduce Tier 3.
The quality of life stuff.
Yes. And I want to be really careful here. We are not saying that people with low incomes don't deserve joy or entertainment. We are not saying you shouldn't have Netflix.
What?
But if the math is negative, this is the only place we can make cuts today without threatening your immediate survival. It's the most structurally sound place to start.
It's the least painful cut in terms of your ability to function.
Right. Cancel the streaming services for a few months. That's $20, $30, $40 right there. Stop eating out entirely for a month. That's the low-hanging fruit.
Okay, so we trim the fat from tier 3 first. What's step 2?
Step 2 is to optimize Tier 2. This is medium effort. This involves the negotiation we're going to talk about. Shrinking your phone bill, your internet bill, your insurance premiums, without actually losing the service itself.
And step 3, the last resort.
Step 3 is the last resort. Reduce Tier 1. This is high effort and it's high pain. This means seriously considering moving to a cheaper apartment. It means getting a roommate when you desperately want to live alone.
It means drastically changing your diet to rice and beans.
Yes. You only pull these levers if cutting Tier 3 and optimizing Tier 2 doesn't stop the bleeding. It's the final backstop.
That makes so much sense. Don't uproot your entire life until you've at least tried canceling Spotify and calling your phone company.
Please.
Speaking of calling the phone company, let's move right into that. Section 4, the magic trick, negotiating bills.
This is my favorite part of the source material because it is so actionable. The ROI, the return on your investment of time, is enormous.
But it's also the part people hate, right? They hate conflict. They hate being put on hold for 45 minutes. They think I'm just one person, AT&T doesn't care about me. Why would they give me a discount?
That is the fear talking. And it's a valid fear, but it's based on a false premise. Here's the reality. Customer retention is expensive for these companies.
What do you mean?
Acquiring a new customer costs them hundreds of dollars in marketing and promotions. Keeping you as a customer, even at a slight discount, is almost always cheaper for them than having to go out and find a replacement for you.
So they actually want to keep you.
They have entire departments, retention departments, with budgets specifically dedicated to this. If you do not ask, you are leaving your money on their table.
Okay, but there are rules to this game.
Yeah.
You can't just call up and start screaming at the first person who answers.
No, that's the worst thing you can do. Rule number 1, according to the source, is all about timing. Never, ever call on a Monday or a Friday.
Why is that?
Mondays are a nightmare. Everyone is calling because things broke over the weekend, the hold times are insane, the agents are already stressed, and Fridays, the agents are burned out, they're watching the clock, they just want to go home.
So when should you call?
Call Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and try to call between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. You want to get an agent who has had their coffee but hasn't been yelled at for 6 straight hours yet.
That is such a specific tactical tip. I love it. Okay, rule number 2.
Be polite but firm. This is huge. The person on the other end of that line is a human being, likely also making low wages and dealing with angry people all day. If you start screaming, their brain just shuts down. They will do the bare minimum to get you off the phone.
But if you're calm and kind.
If you treat them like an ally, like someone who can help you solve a problem, they are so much more likely to actually use the tools they have to help you.
And rule number 3.
The golden rule. You must always, always ask for a supervisor or the retention department if the first person says no.
Why is that so important?
Because the frontline customer service rep often literally does not have the save button on their computer screen. They are not authorized to give out the big discounts. The supervisor is. Their job is to prevent cancellations.
Okay, I want to try this. Let's actually role play it, because reading a script is one thing, but saying the words out loud is another. I'll be the nervous customer. You be my coach. Let's start with the internet bill.
Okay, sounds good. So the strategy here is all about competition. You need to do a tiny bit of homework first. Go online and see what a competitor is offering for the same service.
Okay, so I call up my provider and I just say, "Hi, my bill is too high. I want to cancel."
Stop right there. Too aggressive. If you just say, "I want to cancel," some agents might just say, "Okay," and start the process. You've lost your leverage.
So what's a better opening?
You want to frame it as a dilemma that you want them to help you solve. You're on their side.
Okay, let me try again. "Hi, I'm looking at my latest bill, and it's really starting to stretch my budget.
Yeah.
I did a little research, and I found that a competitor, let's say Verizon, is offering the same internet speed for $50 a month. I would really, really like to stay with you guys, but I need your best offer to make that happen."
Perfect. Did you hear the key phrases there? I would like to stay with you. You are signaling that you are a loyal customer who is being forced away by the market. You're making them the hero who can save you.
And what if they come back and say something like, "I'm sorry, sir, but we can't match that price"?
This is the hardest part. The power of silence. You just say, "I understand. Is that the absolute best you can do? Because $50 is a really big difference for me." And then you shut up.
Don't say anything else.
Don't say a word. Let the silence hang there. It's awkward. It puts the pressure on them to be the one to speak next and fill that void, hopefully with a better offer.
And if they still say no after the silence?
Then you escalate, calmly and politely. I really appreciate you looking into that for me. Is it possible to speak with the supervisor or someone in the retention department to see if there are any other promotions available for long-term customers?
Okay, I can do that. Let's move to cell phones. This is a huge expense for so many people. Plans are just ridiculously expensive.
They are, and the leverage here is a little different. It's all about MVNOs.
MVNO. You gotta explain that. ELI5, explain. Like I'm 5.
Mobile Virtual Network Operator. Think of companies like Mint Mobile, Visible, or Cricket. Here is the big secret the major carriers don't want you to know. They use the exact same cell towers as the big guys.
So the service is this.
It's the same signal. Mint Mobile runs on T-Mobile's network. Visible runs on Verizon's network. You're just not paying for their massive advertising budgets and their physical stores.
But the price is like half.
Often a third of the price. So you call up your big carrier, your Verizon or your AT&T, and you say, "Look, I just called Mint and they offered me $30 a month for unlimited data. Can you match that? A friend of mine did this, and they offered him $30 off his bill a month immediately. Just like that.
And if they say no, honestly, in this case, you should probably just switch.
You absolutely should. If you are a low-income earner and you are paying $80 or $90 for a single phone line, you are setting money on fire. Switch to the $30 plan. That is $50 or $60 a month back in your pocket, instantly.
Okay, what about insurance? Specifically, car insurance.
The loyalty tax is a very real thing here. It's almost the opposite of other bills.
What do you mean they punish you for staying with them?
Their algorithms know that if you've been a customer for 5, 6, 7 years, you're statistically unlikely to leave. So every 6 months at renewal, they just creep your rate up by a few percent. They're counting on you not noticing or not wanting the hassle of switching.
That's infuriating.
It is. The advice from the source is crystal clear. You have to shop for new insurance every 6 to 12 months. It is annoying, yes, but a 30-minute phone call to a competitor could easily save you $300 or $400 a year.
And you just use the same script? I found the same coverage for less. Match it, or I'm canceling.
Exactly.
Now for the big one, the one that terrifies people. Medical bills.
This is a huge source of debt and stress and bankruptcy in America.
Can you really negotiate a hospital bill? It feels so official. It feels set in stone, like a government mandate.
It is absolutely not set in stone. It's crucial for listeners to understand this. Hospitals are businesses. And this is the most important part. Nonprofit hospitals, which are most of them, are federally required to have charity care programs.
Charity care. I've never even heard of that. What is it?
It's a program that forgives or dramatically reduces medical bills for low-income patients. But here's the catch. They don't advertise it. You will never see a billboard for it. You have to ask for it by name.
So what's the script? What do you say?
You call the hospital's billing department. You say, "Hi, I received this bill for $500 for my recent visit. I absolutely cannot afford to pay this. I would like to apply for charity care or your financial assistance program."
And what happens then?
They're legally required to send you an application form. You fill it out, provide proof of income, and very often, if your income is low enough, the bill just disappears. It gets written off completely.
That is life-changing information. What if you don't qualify for charity care, though? What if you make just a little too much money?
Then you pivot to a settlement offer. You say, "Look, I understand I don't qualify for full assistance. I still cannot pay the full $500. But what I can do is pay $300 today, right now, over the phone, if we can consider this debt settled in full."
Why in the world would they take 60 cents on the dollar?
Because chasing you for that $500 costs them time and money. They know that a huge percentage of medical bills go unpaid. They would much rather have $300 in cash today than spend months trying to collect from you and maybe eventually selling your debt to a collection agency for pennies on the dollar.
Cash is king.
Cash in hand is always better than a promise of future payment.
Okay, so we've gone through the negotiation boot camp. We've fought for our money. We've potentially freed up $50, $100, maybe even $200 a month.
And that is the capacity we were looking for in the tier system. That is the money that you can now redirect to tier 4.
It's the money that moves you from drowning to actually swimming.
Exactly.
But sometimes, let's be honest, even after all that cutting and negotiating, the hole is still too deep. Sometimes the math just doesn't work.
That's right. And that's when we need to look at the other side of the equation.
Section 5 covers what the source calls the invisible safety net, maximizing benefits.
And we have to start this section by addressing that same elephant in the room again. Stigma.
Pride.
Pride. A lot of people, especially people who work incredibly hard, feel like applying for public assistance is admitting defeat. They feel like it's welfare, and they have all these negative associations with that word.
The whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality.
Right. But the source offers a reframe here that I think is brilliant. Let me ask you this. Do you pay sales tax when you buy clothes?
Yes.
Do you pay gas tax every time you fill up your car? Do you have payroll taxes taken out of every single paycheck?
Of course. Everybody does.
Then these programs, SNAP, LIC, Medicaid, they are not charity. They are not a handout. They are a refund.
A refund.
You have been paying into the insurance pool of society your entire working life. When you fall on hard times and you need to use these programs, you are simply making a claim on an insurance policy that you have already paid for.
That changes the whole picture.
Yeah.
If I get into a car crash, I don't feel ashamed to call my insurance company. I paid for that coverage.
This is the exact same thing. You paid for this coverage. So let's talk about the specific programs. First up, SNAP.
Food assistance. What do we really need to know?
The income threshold is roughly 130% of the federal poverty line. If you are in our target demographic today, you very likely qualify. But here's the key strategic detail people miss. Money is fungible.
Fungible. What does that mean?
It means that a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. They're interchangeable. Some people say, oh, I don't need SNAP, I can afford my own beans and rice. But think about it this way. If SNAP pays for your $100 worth of groceries, that frees up the $100 of cash you were going to spend on food.
And now you can use that cash for things S&P can't pay for.
Exactly. You can use that $100 for the electric bill or for rent or for the car payment. Using SNAP actually helps you pay your rent. It stabilizes the entire household budget.
That's a great point. Speaking of electric bills, the next one is LIHEAP.
Low-income home energy assistance program. This helps with heating bills in the winter and cooling bills in the summer. But the big warning here is all about timing.
What's the catch?
The funds are limited. It's a block grant from the federal government to the states. When the money for the year runs out, it runs out.
So it's basically first come, first served.
Absolutely. Do not wait until your heat is about to be shut off in the middle of February to apply. You'll be too late. The advice is to apply in the early fall for heating assistance and the early spring for cooling. Be the first in line before the crisis hits.
And then there's the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit. The source calls this one free money.
It is the single largest anti-poverty program for working people in the United States. It's a refundable tax credit. And refundable is the magic word.
What does that mean?
It means that even if you owe $0 in federal income taxes, the government might still write you a check. It's not just a deduction, it's cash in your pocket.
How big of a check are we talking about?
Depending on your income and how many children you have, it can be up to nearly $4,000. A $4,000 check.
There's a problem, right?
The tragedy is that millions of eligible people don't claim it every year. They think because they don't earn enough to owe taxes, they don't need to file taxes.
But you have to file to get the credit.
You must file a tax return to claim it. You can use the free filing services online. You have to do it.
Okay, so the strategy is to go to benefits.gov, see what you're eligible for. But let's be real for a second. The bureaucracy can be a nightmare. The forms are confusing, the offices are crowded, the hold times are long.
It is often designed to be difficult, unfortunately. The source says you have to expect wait lists. Especially for housing assistance, like Section 8, you might be on a list for years.
Years? That's so discouraging.
It is. But the command is, apply anyway, get on the list today. Because 3 years will pass whether you're on the list or not. And you need to follow up. Call every 2 weeks to check on the status of your application. The squeaky wheel gets the grease in the social safety net system.
Okay, so we've optimized our expenses, we've applied for the benefits we've already paid for. Now we need to talk about what to do with that little bit of margin, that capacity we've created. Section 6, the emergency fund. But we are rethinking safety here.
We have to. If you tell a low-income earner to save 6 months of expenses, which is the standard advice you hear everywhere, you are telling them to save $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000.
Which feels completely impossible. It's so overwhelming, you just don't even start.
Exactly. It's paralyzing. So the source introduces what it calls the shoestring approach, or the stages model. We break it down into much smaller, achievable goals.
Okay, what is stage 1?
Stage 1 is $500. That's it. Just $500.
Why that specific number?
Because $500 is a magic number.
Yeah.
A Federal Reserve study found that a huge percentage of American families couldn't handle a surprise $400 expense. $500 covers the vast majority of these minor life crises.
Like
A brake job on your car, a broken refrigerator you find used on Marketplace, a sudden dental emergency, or a prescription copay. If you have $500, these things are just annoyances. If you don't have $500, these things force you to a payday lender.
And once you go to a payday lender, with those insane interest rates, the debt spiral begins.
It's almost impossible to escape. That $500 is the firewall against the debt spiral.
So how do we build it? It still feels like a lot of money.
Slowly, incrementally.
Yeah.
If you save just $10 a week, that's 2 fewer fast food meals, or the savings from one negotiation win, you hit $500 in 10 months. If you can manage to save $50 a week, you're there in just 2.5 months.
And after you hit 500, what's stage 2?
Stage 2 is $1,000. That handles the bigger stuff, a major car repair or a bigger medical bill. Stage 3 is $2,000. That gives you a little breathing room, a small job loss cushion. But the source is adamant. Don't even worry about those yet. Just get to 500, celebrate that win.
Now, There's a crucial rule in the material about where to put this money, though. You can't just leave it sitting in your regular checking account.
Absolutely not. If the money is in your checking account, you will spend it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It gets eaten by the death by 1,000 swipes of your debit card.
So where does it go?
It must be in a separate bank, in a high-yield savings account, or HYSA.
You mean like one of those online banks?
Exactly. Ally, Marcus, by Goldman Sachs, American Express, Capital One 360, there are tons of them. And you use them for two specific reasons. One, they actually pay you decent interest. Right now, it's around 4 or 5%. Your brick-and-mortar bank pays you 0.01%.
So your money is actually making a little money.
But two, and this is actually the most important reason, friction.
There's that word again, friction.
It takes 1 to 3 business days to transfer that money from your online HYSA back to your local checking account where you can spend it. That built-in delay is what saves you from yourself.
How so?
If you're at Target and you see a cool new TV on sale, you can't use your emergency fund to buy it on impulse because the money isn't there instantly. It's not accessible. It forces you to go home and wait.
It forces you to think for 3 days. And usually, after 3 days, the impulse to buy the TV is gone.
It's completely gone. That friction is a feature, not a bug.
Okay, so we've started our emergency fund in a separate account. Now we get to the part of the conversation that feels like it's only for rich people. Section 7. Investing for the low-income earner. Is this even possible, or is this just irresponsible advice?
The source argues, and I completely agree, that it is absolutely essential. The biggest myth in finance is that you need money to make money. The truth is you need $10 in a plan.
$10, really?
$10.
Yeah.
The power here isn't the amount of money you start with, it's the combination of compound interest and time. Those two things are the most powerful forces in the financial universe.
Let's do the math on that, because it sounds too good to be true.
Okay. The source lays it out like this. If you invest just $10 a month, the cost of 2 fancy coffees you weren't buying anyway, at a conservative 7% average annual return over a 40-year working career,
Okay.
you will have put in a total of $4,800 of your own money. $10 a month for 40 years.
Right, about $5,000.
But with compound growth, the account will be worth nearly $29,000.
So $24,000 just appeared out of thin air.
It appeared out of the growth of the market. That is your money working for you, instead of you always having to work for your money. But the key is you have to start now. Even $10.
But wait, the market? That sounds really scary and complicated. What are we actually buying, and where are we buying it? Because I know some of these new investing apps charge fees that would eat that $10 alive.
That is the big trap you have to avoid. The source specifically warns against using micro-investing apps like Acorns or Stash if you have very small balances.
Why is that? I see ads for them everywhere. They seem perfect for beginners.
Because they often charge a flat monthly fee. Say it's $3 a month. If you are only investing $10 and they immediately take $3 for their fee, you've just lost 30% of your investment instantly. You're guaranteed to lose money.
That's a terrible return. Okay, so what is the better option?
You go to the big, boring, established guys. Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard. You can even use Robinhood, though. Be careful with the gamification on their platform. You open a standard brokerage account or a Roth IRA.
And there are no monthly fees?
0 fees to have the account. 0 commissions to buy or sell most funds.
Okay, so we have a free account. What do we actually buy with our $10?
We buy fractional shares of a low-cost index fund ETF.
Whoa, that's a lot of alphabet soup. Explain that like I'm 5 again.
Okay, imagine a big fruit basket. If you try to pick just one apple, like buying one single stock, say Tesla, that one apple might be rotten. You could lose all your money if that one company fails.
Right, high risk.
An ETF, an exchange-traded fund, is the entire fruit basket. It has 500 different pieces of fruit in it. A slice of Apple, a slice of Amazon, a slice of Microsoft, all of them. It's the entire S&P 500.
So it's much safer because you're diversified. If one company fails, you still have 499 others.
Exactly. And the ticker symbol for a popular S&P 500 ETF is VOO. But a single share of that basket costs like $400 or $500.
Which we don't have.
Which you don't have. But now, with fractional shares, you can buy just a tiny slice of the basket. You can walk into Fidelity with your $10 and say, I want $10 worth of the S&P 500, and they will sell you that tiny piece.
So for the price of a burrito, you can own a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in America.
Yes. And if that sounds too complicated, there's an even easier option, a target date fund. It's the ultimate set it and forget it option. You just pick the fund with the year closest to when you think you might retire, say a Vanguard target date 2060 fund. The fund manages itself. It starts out aggressive when you're young and automatically gets safer and more conservative as you get older.
So the strategy is simple. Open a no-fee account at a place like Fidelity. Link your bank account. Set up an automatic transfer for $10 a month into a target date 2060 fund. And then
you pretend it doesn't exist for 40 years. You do not touch it. You do not look at it when the market crashes. That is your rebellion fund. That is your FU money slowly growing in the background.
a rebellion fund. I love that framing. Okay, now we've talked a lot about cutting costs and saving and investing, but there is a ceiling to how much you can cut. Eventually, you need to raise the floor. You need more income.
That's the other half of the equation.
Section 8 is side income reality versus hype.
We have to cut through all the noise you see on Instagram and TikTok here. You see these influencers, right?
I made $10,000 last month drop shipping watches from my laptop. It makes you feel like you're a failure for not doing it.
It's almost all hype. The reality check from the source material is that most side hustles for normal people with limited time and resources earn somewhere between $50 and $300 a month. And we have to look at the net wage.
Net wage. You mean what you actually keep after all the expenses?
Exactly. Let's take something like DoorDash or Uber. The great thing about them is they offer fast cash. You can sign up today and make money tonight. That's powerful. But you have to pay for your own gas. You have to account for the wear and tear on your car tires, oil changes, brakes, and you have to set aside money for self-employment taxes, which is about 15%.
So if the app says you made $20 an hour,
After all those expenses, you might actually be taking home $8 or $9 or $10 an hour. You are essentially selling off your car part by part for cash now.
that is a dark way to look at it, but it's probably accurate.
Yeah.
You're borrowing equity from your only vehicle.
Which is fine if you have a true emergency. If you need rent money today to avoid eviction, do it. But don't treat it as a long-term career path.
So what's a better option, according to the sources?
It's a decision tree. It depends on your resources.
Do you have a reliable car and you need cash immediately? Okay, do the gig work.
Do you have marketable skills you can do from a computer? Can you write or design basic logos or do data entry?
If the answer is yes, then what?
Freelancing. Go on sites like Upwork or Fiverr. The start is incredibly slow. You might only get $5 for your first job just to get a review, but there's no overhead cost, no gas, no wear and tear, and the ceiling is much higher. You can eventually charge $50 or $60 an hour for a real skill.
And what about question 3? What if I don't have a reliable car and I don't have any of those digital skills?
Then you go for the low-hanging fruit. This isn't really a job, but it's finding money. Use cashback apps like Rakuten or Ibotta for purchases you are already going to make. And the big one,
No,
selling used items on Facebook Marketplace or Poshmark.
just selling all the clutter in your house.
It is the absolute quickest way to get that first $500 for your emergency fund. Look around your apartment, that old video game console, the clothes you haven't worn in 2 years. If you haven't used it in a year, sell it. Turn your clutter into your firewall.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground. We've done psychology, math, negotiation scripts, benefits, investing. But information without action is just noise.
It's just entertainment. It doesn't change your life.
So Section 9 brings it all together with a 30-day action plan.
This is all about pacing. If you try to do every single thing we talked about this weekend, you will get overwhelmed, you'll burn out, and you'll end up doing none of it.
So let's break it down week by week. What do you do in week 1?
Week 1 is foundation. That's it. Your only job is to calculate your baseline numbers, your real income, and your total expenses from last month. Start the receipt method. Don't change your spending yet, just watch the money. And maybe, if you're feeling ambitious, cancel one subscription you forgot you had.
That's manageable. Okay, week 2.
Optimization. This is phone call week. Pick one bill. Just one. Not all of them. Pick the one that bothers you the most. The internet, the car insurance. Make that one call. Use the script. That's your only goal for the week.
Week 3.
Safety net. Go to benefits.gov, spend 1 hour seeing what you might be eligible for to SNAP LAIP. Even if you think you won't qualify, just check. And this is the week you open that high-yield savings account. Transfer the first $10 into it.
And finally, week 4.
Growth. This is the week you open the no-fee investment account. Set up that $10 automatic transfer and just start exploring a side hustle strategy. You don't have to make money yet. Just pick one and learn about it.
If you do just those small things, the source tallies up the potential monthly improvement between the savings from cutting subscriptions, the bill negotiations, the value of the benefits, and maybe a small side hustle. What kind of swing are we looking at?
We're looking at a potential swing of anywhere from $170 to over $900 a month.
Imagine having an extra $300, $400, $500 a month. That is not a small change. That changes your life.
It moves you from surviving to building. It changes the trajectory of your family's future. It's the difference between constant stress and having options.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just go back to that core message from the very beginning. You are not broken. The math is hard, but it is navigable.
That is the ultimate takeaway. The system, in many ways, is designed to keep you stagnant. It's designed to extract fees and interest and subscription costs from you at every turn. These small actions we talked about, negotiating a bill, opening a no-fee investment account, saving $10, these are acts of rebellion.
Rebellion.
You are taking agency back from a system that wants you to feel powerless.
I love that thought. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
So here is our final provocative thought for you, the listener. You don't need to do everything we talked about today. You don't need to do the whole 30-day plan starting tomorrow. What happens if you just do one thing?
Just one.
What happens if you just hang up from this deep dive and you make one single phone call to your internet provider? Or you just go online and open that savings account and put $10 in a jar to deposit later. What does that one action change?
Just one thing shifts the momentum. It proves to yourself that you can do it.
Start there. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.